Marcus's heart hammered wildly in his chest as panic overtook him. He glanced back at the tourists, still smiling and snapping pictures, their carefree laughter now seeming cruelly out of place. Luna was gone. Really gone. A bitter metallic taste flooded his mouth as fear coiled around his heart. He spun around again, eyes desperately scanning the dense vegetation and shadowy swampland, as if sheer willpower alone could summon her from wherever she had vanished. "Luna!" Marcus shouted into the misty expanse, his voice cracking with anxiety. His call was swallowed instantly by the dense fog and towering reeds, returning only as a faint, mocking echo. The Fenwood Wetlands, which just moments ago felt like a dreamscape filled with wonder, now loomed around him as a dark, menacing labyrinth. He stumbled forward, clutching his camera tightly as he left the tourists far behind. Every step grew harder, the thick mud gripping his boots like desperate hands trying to pull him down. Branches clawed at his skin and clothes, leaving angry welts, but Marcus barely noticed. His focus was singular: find Luna. He refused to let himself think of the warnings he'd heard about this place, the stories of people losing their footing and never being seen again, swallowed by hidden sinkholes or lurking predators. "Please, Luna, come here, girl," Marcus pleaded again, softer this time, a whispered prayer more than a shout. He paused, ears straining for even the faintest hint of her playful bark or familiar whimper. Instead, the wetlands answered with oppressive silence, broken only by the distant cries of unseen birds. Marcus felt dread twist deeper inside him, fueling his panic. Hours passed with agonizing slowness as Marcus combed the wetlands, growing more desperate and disoriented with each passing moment. His phone had long since died, drained from endless calls, messages, and photos. He had lost sight of the trail markers, and the sun was slipping ominously toward the horizon, promising darkness he was not prepared for. Still, he pressed on, driven by the relentless determination to find Luna. Marcus remembered clearly the day he found her. That small, trembling puppy, eyes wide with fear, shivering at the roadside. The image was burned into his memory. He had promised her safety, companionship, and love. He refused to accept that the Fenwood Wetlands could rip her away so cruelly, leaving him helpless and guilty. As the daylight dwindled, the swamp seemed to come alive with menacing sounds. The shrill chorus of insects, croaks of hidden frogs, and splashes of mysterious creatures lurking just out of sight filled the air. Marcus shuddered, trying to suppress dark imaginings. He knew he had to find shelter soon or risk losing his own life. But the thought of leaving Luna behind tore at his heart. Exhausted and close to tears, he finally stumbled onto a small patch of higher ground, surrounded by towering, moss-covered trees. It was dry enough to sit, so he lowered himself shakily to rest, his muscles trembling from exertion. Nightfall cloaked the wetlands in heavy darkness, but Marcus lit a small flashlight, its weak beam barely piercing the oppressive gloom. That night was the longest Marcus had ever endured. Every sound jolted him awake, every rustle in the bushes conjuring images of Luna scared and alone, or worse. He drifted in and out of restless sleep, haunted by nightmares of failing her. The wetlands' nocturnal whispers seemed to taunt him, his fears growing louder and more vivid until dawn finally broke. As the first pale streaks of morning pierced the canopy, Marcus rose wearily. His body ached from a night spent shivering on damp ground, but his determination remained strong. "I'll find you today, Luna," he promised softly, mustering fresh strength. He pushed deeper into the wetlands, every step calculated to avoid hidden pitfalls. After several tense hours, Marcus stumbled upon fresh paw prints in the soft mud near the edge of a narrow stream. His pulse surged with hope, adrenaline driving him onward. "Luna!" he called once more, urgency coloring his voice. A faint, distant bark answered him. A weak, frightened sound, but unmistakably hers. Marcus nearly broke down in relief, sprinting recklessly in the direction of her cries. His heart pounded furiously, branches and brambles scraping his face and arms, but he barely felt it. Luna's desperate voice grew stronger, guiding him through the tangled underbrush. He emerged into a small clearing, eyes quickly finding Luna trapped on the far side. She had fallen into a steep-sided depression near the base of an old hollowed-out tree. Her front paw appeared caught among twisted roots, preventing her from climbing out. She whimpered softly, brown eyes pleading desperately as she saw Marcus approach. "Luna!" Marcus shouted in relief, dropping to his knees and reaching out toward her. "I'm here, girl. Hold on." Carefully, Marcus climbed into the shallow depression, careful not to hurt Luna further. She whimpered anxiously but seemed to trust him implicitly. With gentle hands, he carefully freed her paw from the roots. Assessing the injury as best he could, nothing appeared broken, but the paw was badly swollen and tender. Marcus wrapped it with cloth torn from his shirt, soothing her softly as he worked. With Luna safely secured in his arms, Marcus realized a new challenge lay ahead, finding their way back. But with renewed resolve, he began the arduous trek, carefully retracing his steps, mindful of Luna's comfort. Their journey back took hours, Marcus frequently stopping to rest and reassure Luna, who snuggled close, grateful and exhausted. At last they reached the trailhead as twilight fell. Marcus stumbled into the small ranger station, heart pounding with relief. The ranger on duty immediately radioed for assistance, marveling at Marcus's dedication to his injured companion. At the veterinarian's office in town, Luna's paw was gently treated. She was given medication and strict orders to rest. Marcus sat beside her, feeling a weight lift from his heart for the first time since she had vanished. He had nearly lost her, and the experience profoundly changed him. Weeks later, back in his own home, Marcus looked through the pictures he had captured. Photos of playful raccoons, cheerful tourists, and the mysterious beauty of the wetlands filled his screen. Yet none compared to the image he snapped at the veterinarian's office. The moment Luna, paw bandaged, rested her head gratefully in his lap, eyes filled with trust and love. The adventure in the Fenwood Wetlands had taught Marcus lessons he would never forget about the fragility of life, the strength of determination, and the unbreakable bond between a man and his loyal companion. And though he would continue his career traveling the globe, from that day forward, he knew he would never again underestimate the wild places he explored or the deep loyalty Luna had awakened in him.